Hello and welcome to Simon on the Sofa. Thank you always for joining these talks, these conversations. Today I'm with the lovely Cate Mackenzie. Hello, Cate.
Hello, Simon.
Been looking forward to this talk because Cate is, well, she's basically, everything she does is love. She travels around the world teaching love in workshops, talks, in everything she does really, radio conversations, and she's been working on this sort of, well, exploring and really taking love to the world since 98, right?
Yes.
1998, and you know, this is from all walks of life as well. So somebody that when I read her profile and checked out her website, because of my exploration of love, I was like, okay, it'd be good if, funnily enough, Pedro found her website originally, and then I was like, okay, it'd be good to get Cate onto the sofa. And then through, you know, and then, like we said when we first spoke, it's, you know, it wasn't right maybe when I first sent you an email because you didn't receive that, and then now we've come together beautifully. So timing, exactly, synchronicity.
Yes.
And so I'm going to go straight in and ask Cate a question about love. I think love's our topic for today in every single way. So do you want to just, in your words, describe how love's showing up for you at the moment today?
Ooh, that's a nice way of putting it. How is love showing up for me today?
Yeah.
It's very nice. Well, you coming here and bringing the intention of love, you and Pedro coming in, because as you probably understand, cameras and interviews magnify and amplify whatever we're doing.
Mm.
So you've come here to magnify and amplify love for me today. Thank you so much.
That's a lovely way of putting it. Thank you. Yeah, pleasure.
You like a magnifying glass, you know, by just coming here and just asking for the intention of love to be here and to connect with love. You've opened love up by doing that.
Wonderful.
So, thank you.
Yeah, that's a great way of describing it. Love's become such a, maybe because I've been on this exploration, but you've also been on this a lot longer, you know, using love as a very much a tool to create awareness for people and to really wake them up to themselves. I would say a lot of your work has been about. Do you feel, I'm gonna go with it, this is what's coming up for me now. Do you've heard the saying that you cannot love another until you love yourself? Yeah, have you heard that saying? Yeah. What's your interpretation on that saying? Do you think that's true? Do you think that everybody has to come back to that self-love first before they can actually really emanate a pure love out to their actions and come from that wholesome base of intention and compassion and wisdom and so on? They have to feel it within themselves first, or do you think that it can be accessed regardless of that awareness?
One, you are love.
Okay.
Just got to remember it.
Yeah.
That's it, right? One, that's there all the time. There is no there's nothing you have to do.
Excellent.
There's no course, there's no extra, there's no nothing. You just might forget it. But as soon as you can remember that you are love, you're there, right? Two, there is a journey in knowing yourself. Yes. And through knowing yourself, you know, more will unfold and it's, you know, beautiful and amazing. Three, yes, the more I know myself, the more I can love me and have more of me, the greater potential I am at potentially loving another. But four, I wouldn't wait until I'm perfect.
Yeah, because there is no perfection, right? Yeah. Well, you're already perfect if you love.
We're already perfect.
Or whatever perfect is.
And you know, in recovery, my mother's a psychotherapist, and she worked in a place called Cloud's House, and which was people coming off drug and alcohol addiction. And they really felt happy if somebody was in a relationship coming off drug and alcohol addiction, because in a relationship you have to grow.
Definitely.
On your own you can isolate. So that even though relationships can be really difficult, but they are living therapy. So I'm not saying that this isn't a path about the self and growth, and I think that's always there.
Definitely.
It's not about the job or the partner or the this or that, although I welcome people to bring those in. It's always about you. It's never about putting them on a pedestal above you. But I think there's something really beautiful about growing in love with another person, or growing in love through your purpose or your work, or growing in love through working with a group or being in community with your friends or family. And I think, but you have to, what I think is you have to tune into you. What's right? What's right for you right now? Sometimes it's right for people to go and live up a hill.
Of course.
And sometimes it's right to go and spend more time with their family. And sometimes we need to have extra support to work these things out.
Definitely, yeah. So definitely, and also this, it's a nice way of describing it, because if the people are saying that, you know, almost that saying, just to stick with that saying for a second, almost that saying of you cannot love another until you love yourself, even in the instance of somebody believing that, it's creating a lot of separation as well, isn't it? Because it's creating almost like a, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or that must change, or oh, this relationship isn't great, and so on, rather than just, like you say, being in the love, being in the experience, and then what unfolds from that, that's your learning, growing, to hold the mirror up and look at, you know, what's happening. That's really, so just with you, so if we go back sort of before '98, when you started doing your wonder work, and you put some messages out into the world, have you always been loved? Has it been something that you've always you've always had that base of love? Was it something that you thought that, you know, I just feel great and I'm just going to do love, you know, do you know what I mean? Did you have a transformation, as it were? Yeah.
So what happened to me was I was born in a very loving way. I was born in the Lanesborough Hotel, 3rd floor of the Lanesborough Hotel, next to number 1 London. So I was born, like, I came because I visited with my mum and thought, this is quite interesting. If I was in the universe, I'm going to come in the centre of everything, you know. And both my parents were really, really happy when I was born. Like, my mother felt like Mother Earth. Yeah. She felt like she knew everything about motherhood. My father was really proud. He felt I came into the centre of the world, because born in next to number 1 London. He was like, you've come into the centre of it. You know, there was this happiness. Yeah. And this was reflected to me recently. Now, you can see it in the photos. There's a lot of happiness when I came in. And I grew up in this house. My father was a foreign correspondent, worked abroad. My mother worked supporting fashion photographers. There was a lot of people, big house, a lot of people, refugees came, young girls, drug addicts, alcoholics, came and lived with us, family came and lived with us. It was just like packed with people, and there was this sense of creativity. We had a room just for dancing in with a piano. I had this incredible neighbour called Esther who lived down my street, and I went and danced with her every day to reggae. She had reggae musicians around.
Lovely.
And there's a sense of absolute craziness, right? I mean, really, in all honesty, like so much going on, party central. But this sense of connectivity, books, films, my grandmother made films and television. There was a lot of writers, a lot of people, a lot of dancers, a lot of actors. So the sense of creativity and dancing, and, you know, I was roller skating around and writing my plays, and really creative. And also, as a little kid, I was really free and open. My mother said I was like a little angel. I used to listen to everything, and then adults used to come and ask me questions, and I'd answer them. Obviously, somewhere I was confident. I was confident. Yeah. I was me. I'd walk down the street and say hello to everyone. Yeah. I had this whole thing with little groups to spread love when I was a little kid. Now, when I was 12, Esther, this very important neighbour who I saw every day, died like that. Within 4 days of me knowing she was ill. Okay. She was dead, age 48. My street, which is really community street, all the neighbours started selling their house and leaving. My parents decided to split. They put their house, my father put their house into the Sunday Times advert, and they sold it that day. This happens to no one. People normally have at least like a month or 2 months or 3 years. He put an advert in the paper, guy came round, went, I'm buying it. That was it. My parents split. So, like, in a really short space of time, from being in this kind of like,
this sort of creative wonder world, as it were. Yeah.
Everything going on. It was like, Esther died. Suddenly, my haven was gone. I had this haven every day. Gone. Everything gone. Parents split, moved to 2 smaller flats. no more people, no more parties, no more everything. Everything shut down, gone, and I shut down.
Yeah, what age was this?
12, 13,
yeah.
13, I shut down.
So a key time as well in life for anybody, isn't it? Teenage years,
very
hormonal
awkward, very
changes.
awkward, all that, you know, boys, all that, feeling very
vulnerable, massively,
the whole thing, and I went, and I suppose I didn't know that I'd shut my heart down, but I suppose somewhere I thought, I'm never getting hurt like that again, or I didn't know how to handle the grief of losing this very important person and then losing everything. It was like this. It was like a deck of cards. It went, vroom.
Yeah.
And then two parents very, very, very low, because they were very upset about the loss of each other and the loss of everything, and also because my parents were these people who held this space for a lot of people. Huge amounts of people were lost without my parents holding this space. So they were very upset with my parents for splitting up.
Yeah, you've changed our life.
They're like,
how dare you?
You're not meant to split up. You're like the centre for all of us.
People always do that, don't they? Come back to themselves. Yeah. But this is affecting me.
So a lot of people will also, so there was this cutting off from a lot of people. Anyway, and I thought from that point on, love was outside me. So before that, I knew I was love.
Okay.
I knew I was love, and I knew I was spreading love. I'd just walk around the streets, just hello, sending love. I mean, I was just like permanent little love meister. And I knew I was love, and I had no doubt about it. And my dad had like belief in me to do lots of things, and I had belief in me. I thought, yeah, I can do anything. I'll be it, you know. And I was just like, even whatever. I just had this total belief. And after that, it went. I thought love was music, love was poetry, love was boys, love was anything outside me.
Okay.
I wasn't love.
Yeah. So you were seeking it outside of yourself at that point.
I was like, it's outside me. So I was happy when I was writing poetry. I got very low, listened to Peggy Lee, drank black coffee, even though I don't even like coffee. I was like, I'm low. I'm going to make this an art form, right? I'm going to be low, write poetry, sit by a stream,
wallow in my darkness,
sit by a stream, and go,
a lot of creativity. A lot of creativity comes out of darkness, though. But that's another thing. Sorry.
And then I hung out with loads of hippie boys.
Yeah.
And we went on boats, rides, and wrote music and played songs and all this kind of thing, which was fine and lovely on one level. But I was still making them that they were love. I'd lost that I was love. But in all honesty, during that time, I prayed about 6 times a day to, dear God in heaven above, please show me your sweet, sweet love. So I had this sense that I knew I could go back to love, but I had no idea how. You know, I had this sense that I'd known it, and like, I mean, I got it in bits. A nice poem, I wrote a song, I had a nice moment with a romantic moment with a guy. I was back I went to Brazil, that was very amazing for me. Had moments of feeling it, but it would be like intermittent, do you know? And prayed and prayed and prayed, went to study in Manchester, sociology. And where I was studying, literally where I was studying in the same buildings, was a training to be a workshop leader for 2 years.
Okay.
Went on that course, it was under my nose. And the day I went on, I was like, back. And
so what age is this now? What age?
23.
23. And the workshop leader wasn't about love. It's just being a workshop leader. It's about coming into. To
be honest, to me, it was about love. It was about using creativity.
which
Drama,
is where you'd come from. Drama,
music, movement, writing, art, any creativity to build people's confidence, to build their authentic self. So to me,
interesting, build confidence, and that's what you was needing.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I was like, as soon as I went, I was like, I knew my path. I was like, wow, that's it. Now my heart wasn't healed. Then what happened is, through running workshops and experiencing so much love from the people I was working with, especially people with disabilities, also the older people, also mental health, all the people I worked with, but especially the people with disabilities, they would love me. And I think, my God, is there someone behind me? And there was no one behind me. And I started feeling loved and wanted and valued, and that I was important, and that my contribution was important.
Through the feeling that you was getting reciprocated to you,
that they said to me, you know, we're so happy you're here, we're so happy you're turning up. And I then felt how closed my heart was. I felt it was half closed. I could feel the difference, because it was starting to melt. And I was like, oh my God. And then I realised that when it was half closed, it was like I thought I could only be half hurt. I knew. I started to realise.
So you started to have inner awareness of yourself then, like what you're holding on to.
I started to understand what the whole deal was then. And then it started to melt more and more and more and more and more, started to feel more self-love. And by 98, I thought, do you know what? Maybe there's other people out there who are living a much smaller life. Stop taking risks. Stop being creative, because they've closed their heart down and they don't know how to open it. And so then I thought, I'd like to start helping other people. So that's what happened.
And so at that point in 98, would you say that your heart opened again there, or you were still on the journey?
No,
it's still unfolding?
No, it's like, I mean, to be perfectly frank,
it's still unfolding.
Yeah. Like, I haven't got too many problems now.
Yeah.
But
it's constant.
But I used to think, oh, there's this point of complete open, because I'd get there, I'd go, hey, I've got there. Yeah. Then there'd be another layer.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. It's
another
so
layer,
true.
layer. And it's like a continuous learning.
It's infinite.
It's infinite.
Yeah.
The heart opening is infinite.
Yeah.
Apparently, till we're so open, somebody could walk through us. You know what I mean?
Transparent. There you go.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
real transparency.
That's it. But also there's layers. Like now, like I don't have too many problems. What I now have to learn is to, if someone near me has a lot of problems, I feel them so strongly. Yeah,
because you become more sensitive. So when the heart really opens, I noticed this myself, is that really you then, because somebody said as well, somebody said recently to me that they become awakened, if you want to call it that, but they opened up, and in that opening up, they said that sometimes it's like, had I not opened up, I wouldn't have become so sensitive, and then felt the sensitivities of not only people around them, but then we're talking globally, cosmically, universally, you know, and it goes vaster.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it's now learning for me
the sensitivity.
How to, it's another level, you know, how to be there for others, and also really, you know, just allow myself to be in peace and not worry for others.
Not take on the pain as well.
Not take on the pain. So kind of detach, love them, and detach, so that I don't have to walk around just feeling everyone's.
Yeah,
so it's another layer.
It's another layer
opening, of trusting, and letting go.
And of Cate's journey, because at that point, for them, for example, they might, because I'm sure you've experienced that there becomes, or tell me if you have experienced this, but a level of dependency and need from the people that you help as well, in whether it be in a workshop or whatever, because you know they might be getting this lovely energy from you, feeling this openness, and you're sharing that. And if people are not necessarily aware of those feelings, or they're very new, there can be almost a clinginess to like workshop leaders or gurus or whatever it is that people. Do you see that? I don't know if you've had any first-hand experiences of that, where it just people. You know, because like you said, your mum's a psychotherapist. So, for example, I've heard stories of psychotherapists where people just keep coming every week because they're actually not going away and doing the healing. They just need to come and be with the psychotherapist, for example, because that's where they feel that they're getting the. Do you see what I mean? The release. Have you had anything like that? Any experience where the dependency comes on you to, like, you know, be happy, you know, make people happy, make me happy?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, what I hope is that really this is really always about the other. So, you know, there's nothing I do. In fact, it's always the other person does it. They always open their own heart. But what you do is hopefully be a good witness, a good mirror for them. And so that's what I always hope, is that you're just part of their good support network, whatever that is. So you're not above or below them.
Totally.
It's
holding space.
Holding space. What I like to think, it's a concept called deep equality.
Deep equality, yeah.
Deep equality is working in a circular way where we're all in this together, but I have my competencies and I offer my competencies.
Okay.
So I offer my competencies, my skills that I know about.
That you've learned and picked up, acquired, that have worked.
And I support people with that, but they are equally wonderful and important, and really they do the work.
Yeah, they heal themselves.
They do it.
Yeah.
But I'm there with my competencies to support people to realise who they are. And so I hope that that's really my intention, is really to be a good witness for people to know who they are. Yeah. That they have it. They are the shining light. Yeah, and they can bring in as well. Often what happens is that you get that sort of dependency from people where they think that the other person is so much better than them, or they can never be there. I've heard people say that, you know, I will never be there, or, you know, I even heard people in talks, for example, where they stand up, and we got the ring.
Yeah, we'll just continue. That's somebody that wants to sit on the sofa anyway. But there's very much that level of they're enlightened, if you want to use the word enlightened, they're enlightened, and you know, I'm never going to get to that state, for example. I'm never going to get to that enlightened state, you know. Or, you know, I've even heard people introduce people in talks, for example, where they will go, well, you know, if we could get to where, you know, if one day we're where you are, for example. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And often I find that, and it's lovely to hear you say that you do that in your workshops, often I find that just, again, creates a level of distance and almost separation from the person who can heal themselves. Because I mean, prior to me having a transformation of my own, I was reading books and stuff, but it was never very much going to, you know, workshops or, you know, going to people for love work, or do you see what I mean? It's very much, it's all about what you're willing to do and where you are as an individual on that, and all of it's okay. Because what's coming up for me at the moment, I think that it's from something you said earlier as well, is that when you go on this journey, wherever it takes you, and you come to a place where, you know, things are feeling okay, you've done some letting go, you've released a whole heap of stuff, like you said, you've opened your heart again because you've gone over the past, maybe things that you held on to that kept you trapped, you know, you've looked at your, you know, maybe your places where you might have been angry or a little upset or whatever, you know, you've looked at those, haven't you? You've found them, and you've sort of give them forgiveness, give them some love, you know, showered some light there. And you've done that work yourself, right? As Cate Mackenzie, and I've been doing that work, and many have. And then there comes a point where you almost needed all of that to get to that point. You see what I'm trying to say here? So actually, all of it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's something you brought up earlier, and this might come into this, is that people often have this whole black or white judgment of good or bad, like that's not good or that experience is not great right now. But when you really connect to this, you know, this experience, this love, this energy, you start to realise that everything that you even judged or labelled as good, bad or indifferent or crap or you don't want to experience is needed, isn't it?
Yes.
Can you see that?
It's wonderful.
It's so wonderful.
It's wonderful because, you know, this is the thing. If we set our teachers up to be infallible, where's their humanity? You know, when are they allowed to fall?
Totally.
And I love my teachers to be authentic, because I still go and study and learn from people, and I love really authentic teachers who can be really true, and that for me really works. So one of my teachers, I went on a workshop with her, and at the beginning of the workshop she said, I've just got to share with you all that at this point in my life I know nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was thinking, I want my money back. What do you mean? I didn't come.
Yeah, refunds at the end.
I didn't come on this course because you didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I came on the course because you knew things. I was thinking, what's going on? And then I saw her work. This is a bodywork therapy. I saw her work, and I saw her 30 years experience, and I saw her competency. So what I learnt from her was that she had genuine competency to transfer to us. And at that point in her life, she'd had some changes. And she genuinely couldn't say she knew what was going to happen in the next month.
Yeah.
She genuinely couldn't be in that place of solidity. That's where she wasn't there. So she could hold, I'm in this place of not knowing.
Yeah.
And I have my 30 years competency, my 30 years knowing.
Yeah.
She could have the two places, and for me, I really love that.
Yeah, because that's you know, something I always say is that, you know, the truth of it is, and even on my exploration, is that even where people are pointing, nobody actually knows anything. We're all explorers, every one of us. And I think that there's a great peace, or especially for myself, a great peace in actually being okay with not knowing. Because at that point of being okay with not knowing and not needing to justify, control, you know, label, list or so on, you actually, I know this sort of sounds like, you know, the dichotomy, but it's like you actually then at that point seem to enter a place of knowingness. And you can't really, words don't really describe it. You can't then go, oh, well, I'm going to say that I don't know anything because I know that's the way to knowingness, for example, because it doesn't work. It's almost like you're trying to cheat it's like you're trying to cheat the formulas of the universe, as it were. Do you see what I mean? So I can totally, you know, I can totally appreciate that. Is that I know the Tao Te Ching, and I've mentioned this in a talk before, says that the more you know, the less you understand. So it's very much about, you know, if we can let go of thinking that we need to work everything out, and that everything is, like you said this morning, I think, I don't know if you said it on camera, but is that everything is love and everything is happening as it should, as it were. There's great peace in that, isn't there?
There's a lot of peace. Just to realise you are perfect now. There's not one extra thing you need to do, nothing, to realise that you are love. It's always there. You just got to remember. Just take one moment of breath in and remember that you are love right now.
Yeah.
And then you're out of separation. Yeah. That moment.
But that would be easy for you. And maybe easier for me, maybe, because we maybe go, oh yeah, we get these concepts or these ideas of love, and maybe we've experienced it. But people listening to this, for example, that, you know, in a, you know, maybe a dark place and so on, how do you transform that to somebody? Because they would go, oh, okay, I'm love. Well, that don't sort out, you know, that don't sort out the fact that I've got this dysfunctional relationship, or, you know, my mother's just died, or, do you see what I mean? Or, you know, something you know, awful's just happened to me. Say, for example, I've been raped, or, you know, or whatever it might be. Do you see what I mean? But I know there's the simplicity and the power in that, because you're claiming back your identity almost, or you're claiming back your beingness. But that's really hard for people to grasp, isn't it? As a psychological concept.
Do you know, I think people do know it when they're reminded. I know that sounds really
go on.
simplistic, but I think they do. I think sometimes we do need extra help and extra tools and extra ways. You know, I think we do. And you know, personally, I think that we need ways of securing ourselves, or self-curing ourselves, whatever that is. As in, what is your way back in to you daily, so that you have a you, because obviously our attention is taken out of ourselves. But wherever you are, you can write morning pages like Julia Cameron suggests.
Yes.
You can sit for half an hour and just breathe. You can walk in a park. You can write a gratitude list. You can, even if you feel like you don't know a friend in the world, if you're okay with asking the universe to support you, you can say, please guide me to a lovely friend who I can share with, or please guide me. It will all show up if you're willing to ask. So even if you're feeling completely lost, ask. Ask.
Yeah,
and then be willing for it to turn up.
Yeah, so trust. So again, at that point of asking, would you say that you're trusting in yourself at that point as well? You
might not be trusting at all.
Yeah.
Just ask anyway.
Yeah, so just ask.
Ask. It'll turn up.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's a form of prayer, as it were, because that's what prayer is.
Totally. It's just, I didn't use the word prayer because some people don't like the word prayer.
Exactly.
But yeah, ask. You will be shown, you will be guided, everything will come, you know, in those moments. So, yeah, I mean, I personally believe that everyone really knows their love, and when you remind them, they get it.
Yeah, they get the tingle, don't they? Or they go, oh yeah, and it's like something clicks.
They've got this part of them that goes, I'm not, should push this, that, the other, all these things. But they have another part. I mean, my goodness, your heart's in the centre of your body.
Yeah.
You go into heart consciousness, and you say, well, how do you do that? Well, just breathe into your heart. Put your hand on your heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a connection, it's a relationship you can make at any point. You know, you can just chat to someone with your hand on your heart.
Yeah,
you literally can start to bring yourself into heart consciousness, and that will take you out of your head, and you can just begin that. Now, none of this has to be instant, automatic. You don't have to get to know your heart instant. It's like any relationship. You'd start dating first, wouldn't you? And get to know your heart. You know, how are you today?
Who gets to know their heart? Who goes for dinner with their heart? Could you imagine? Just pop it on the table. Bubble. How are you today?
That's right. That's it. That's exactly it.
What do you like doing?
How are you?
Yeah. How are you today?
What's happened for you?
What's my relationship to life?
Because you know the reality is that the heart stores all the stuff, all the resentment, all the pain, all the disappointment. It gets all clogged up in the heart. And as you breathe, write, talk, you can release what's there and know more and more about the fact that you are love.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
So you can release all the difficulties. may take some work, some intention, some actions.
Some actions, and that's a good point. Actions as well, because funnily enough, I got a text message from a friend the other day, and he's been having quite a rocky few years, to be honest with you, and you know, we've done some talking, as it were, and some little tasks and stuff, you know, just sharing, like what you said, sharing what I've done my own and still do, you know, on a day-to-day basis to keep myself in that, you know, vibration. And he had some massive transformations. But you know, one of the key things that always comes up is that we often want life to change, but we're not willing to change. So I just say, that sort of come to me as you said about the action. You do have to take action. That action might just be asking. That might be it, mightn't it? But it also does require you to, you know, engage and take motion, and you know, a workshop, whatever it might be. You know, read a book and so on. Yes. So that's I think that's a key element for people to understand sometimes, because you can't just sit around and, you know, just ask. All those things do come like that as well. Funnily enough, opportunities do show themselves, don't they?
We have to be ready as well for meeting them, and so you have to be ready to take action. Yeah. You have to be ready to meet those opportunities. They will turn up, and I mean, this is the beauty of real pain, because real pain is such a gift, because you've got no option but to go within. You know, I had no option. You know, I've had to go and get lots of help since I was 20. So there's so much pain in my body. Yeah. You know, I felt like felt like it was concrete inside. So I mean, I had no option. Yeah. Had to go and sort myself out.
Or some go the other way as well, don't they? Where they don't even sort themselves out. But then we're talking that they could potentially end their life. But they may be ending their life, for example, it could be their way out. That could be the option. Do you see what I mean? Like some people, for example, you took the responsibility and you took the courage and the determination to help yourself for whatever reason that might have been at the time, whether it be a book or something. But some people don't. Some people at the moment, for example, are very depressed. You know, whether they turn to drugs, maybe cut their wrist, commit suicide. As you know, suicide rate is rising. For example, because people are not in the heart and they're connected to society, which is disconnected from heart, isn't it? In many respects, sometimes, you know.
I mean, yeah, it's true. It's true. When one of my oldest friends committed suicide, and I think she was very worn down, and she didn't know there was another way, and I think she was afraid. She was afraid of facing her mental illness. Yeah, she was afraid of it. So it was, she. But apparently, you go up, if you believe in this, you go up there and you get a therapist while you're up there, because, you know, there is...
I love this.
You
just get one allocated to you?
Yeah. Yeah. You get...
What, before you go over?
No, I don't know which state, or I don't know what state, but because when you commit suicide, you commit suicide because you're obviously suffering from a lot of pain. When you go over, you know, it doesn't end the pain, so you've got to go get the help up there, you know. So
there's no getting away from the pain. No, even if you think you're getting away from it by that act, you've got to go through the process.
Sort it out. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But also, if people who've been around people who've committed suicide, it obviously shifts everyone around them. Everyone around them has to look at themselves in a huge, huge way, because talk about no control. Yeah. Someone commits suicide, boom, that's it. There is no going back. You've got no come back. Yeah. You've got no even warning about somebody being ill and then boom, gone. Of course. You've got no warning. So the people near someone who's committed suicide, it's a big soul journey. Yeah. Because you have to learn to breathe, let go, realise you're not in charge.
Yeah, that's very true. You're not in charge.
Not in charge.
And that's a big lesson. Yeah, and that's a great lesson, because again, if we're saying that everything's happening as it should, and I've said this before, that if you know, because a lot of the times I don't know if this has come up for you, but it's very much about this whole idea of death, loss. Like you experienced a lot of loss. This idea of death and loss. being not part of love.
Yeah.
Whereas, for example, and I know this is hard for somebody, even if somebody's listening to this and somebody's just committed suicide in your family, or, you know, whatever, you know, somebody just died in your family, it's very hard to hear me talk. You might go, oh, well, you know, nobody's just died in your family, or your family, you know, somebody's not committed suicide. But when you really look at it from an aware position, that is what their journey was. That's what they've chosen. That's their path. And what happens from the knockoff effect to that, the ripple effect, is then how you deal with that yourself is also your, do you see what I mean? Is also okay.
It's a big soul gift. It sounds a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very enormous soul path and gift to be around, to be close to someone who commits suicide. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying that you have to
go in again.
You have to let go. I was holding a level of anxiety about work and things, about shoulds and pushes, but when you have someone close to you commit suicide, you know,
it goes out the window.
Like, you know, what was I worrying about? What my, you know, I let go of whole loads of layers of worrying. I was worrying for the sake of worrying. And after that, I mean, I couldn't. Death brings you right into the moment anyway, but suicide brings you even more. I mean, it's like, it's so close to the bone, suicide, because of course everyone's wondering what should they've done, what they should, and there's nothing you...
Right, there's nothing you can do, is there? Because you don't even know.
Can't bring them back.
Yeah. And you don't know what's going on in their head as well. This is another thing about not knowing.
You all don't know. So it's a very powerful thing to go through, about, in a way, letting go.
Yeah.
Allowing other things to be, that we're not in charge. We are powerful beyond measure, but we're not in charge. Yeah,
we're not in charge, and that's that's a very and also that's come up a lot. There's a very profound the letting go, even in my own life recently, is very much, it's what you said earlier about the layers. Like, I don't know about yourself, but many times, and definitely in the last 3 years, meeting people like yourself, meeting other people, reading certain books, and have been to workshops myself, you often think, and I think you said it earlier, but you often think, oh yeah, I've let go of everything there, you know, I feel good, I feel at peace, I feel, you know, I'm really, you know, I'm in my wholesome state and I'm projecting love into the world, and I'm being really authentic. And then, for example, you know, you start to look at your breath, and I started to do yoga, and I started to look at my breath and do this like rebirthing, and then all of a sudden you look at your breath and you're like, actually I'm holding on to a hell of a lot of my breath, I'm controlling my breath, I'm trying to control how I breathe, as it were, whereas, you know, you're not just allowing that to be. And then you look deeper, and sometimes you go, oh actually I do still have underneath that act, there still is a little bit of expectation, you know, connected to my giving here. Do you see what I mean? So it's constant, isn't it? It's like you said earlier, I know you said it already, it's like, it's infinite. But as we embark on that journey, I think that if people can realise that the letting go and a choice to go within is a journey, a worthwhile journey, you know, it opens up a lot, it opens up awareness, and one worth, and I suppose just one worth taking. Would you agree?
Totally. And you know, so much of this is about being safe.
Yeah.
Because why would anyone open up if they don't feel safe, right?
Okay.
Why would they? And I think this is why people feel maybe suicide's an option, or drug addiction is an option, or other things are an option, because they feel safer, even though they're not, but they can feel safer than going within. And what I would say is, you can find trustworthy witnesses, or you can find trustworthy ways to support you to go within.
Yeah.
You know, people feel like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna find if I go within? And you know, you can do it at your own pace. There's no hurry. You can do it gently. You can do it in a way that's right for you. You don't have to rush at it.
Yeah. You're in control of it.
Yeah, if you find someone who help you and you don't like them, find another person, you know. So take it gently, but it's really wonderful to have a you.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to have a you and be you. I'm going to ask you something to come up. Me and Pedro was in the city yesterday, and we were just sitting down, and then we met some friends, and then there was a homeless person, and I know you've done work with homeless and you know, the mentally ill, if that's what you can call them, because sometimes I think the mentally ill might be actually quite sane. But you know, you've worked with a whole array of from disabled people as well. So one of the things come up was that, you know, I was speaking to, I always like to engage if I can engage and have the opportunity. So I was speaking to the homeless girl, and just asking her about a dog and so on. And you know, when we walked off, I said to Pedro, it's like, sometimes I don't see what the difference is in relation to each individual, because we all have the ability to have choices. Like, for example, I know people that don't have much money. They're in this society. Okay, they have an accommodation they're having to work for, but they're in this society, but they're very, very poor in relation to what they're earning and not working and so on. Now, this lady was brought down from Edinburgh, and she'd come down here because it was 10 degrees warmer. You know, she's now on the street. She was kicked out of her place in Edinburgh and so on. And she come down, and, you know, she was looking quite grubby. She was looking quite, she didn't say she was on drugs, but she was looking quite, you know, definitely, you know, somewhere. I mean, from my own experience, there was something going on with her. I'm not saying she was drunk, I don't know what it was. And we were just talking. But then I walked off and I was thinking about the love, you know, the whole thing about being in love, and, you know, if they're in love and they are love. And it was funny because I did say to Pedro, I said, it might have been a love in action, because she said it was colder in Edinburgh than it is in London. So, as crazy as it sounds, it's a love in action to move yourself from Edinburgh to London and then be on the streets in London, although being on the streets is pretty damn drab in London, right? But then it was like, for me, it's like, at that point, I suppose it's just the allowing and letting go again. But at that point, you know, are they experiencing love, or is it at that point you would say that they're numb to their heart, they're not accessing a point of love, or not? Because you have experience with that. So I'd just like to know what your thoughts are on that.
So I worked with a homeless group for 6 years.
Okay, great.
In Barons Court, and when I first went there, I was like so ambitious. I was like, they're going to have careers, they're going to have jobs, they're going to change their lives. And anyway, after 3 years, what happened for a lot of them is they got secure in their housing.
Okay.
And they got more stable in their lives. A lot of the lives were dramatic. I mean, you know, a lot of drama going on, relationship-wise, family-wise, nearly losing homes, not having places to live, money, gambling, I mean, drama. And I realised after 3 years, I was not going to get these people into careers.
Yeah.
But after 3 years, I noticed a stability happening with their housing, with their lives, bits of joy, bits of creative projects as well. And that what it really helped me with is that, and after 6 years of working with them, you know, really a lot of love in the room, a lot of connection in the room. And that connection took 6 years to build.
Yeah, interesting.
Because these are people who'd really, really suffered from a lot of brokenness. And I probably don't need to tell these stories, but, you know, some people have had lifetimes which have really, like, you know, they haven't had the parenting, they haven't had the skills, they haven't had the security, they've got certain disabilities. It's been hard. And what I realised, it really was beautiful to realise what they got after 6 years of me regularly for 6 years. They had a regular place to speak about feelings, to build confidence. We did lots of drama around assertiveness. Like, it was difficult for them to stand up for themselves, you know, in certain situations. And we did drama around that, and drama about saying no, saying yes, all this kind of. And they got a certain level of self back. And that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. So what I think is like, that's love.
Yeah.
You know, whichever it is for each person. So for Barack Obama, it's being the president of the United States of America. For someone else, it's getting stable. Yeah. I would say it's probably getting stable for most of us. But I think love is stability and, so, and you know, consistent love. But I think that sometimes, you know, some people have needed that addiction at that point in their lives.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Or they needed to be homeless at that point in their life. Or they needed whatever they needed at that point in their life till they don't need it.
Yeah, but
till they don't need it anymore.
No, and I've heard that totally.
You know, and it's strange, but the street can feel more secure, even though that sounds amazing, for some people at that point. Yeah. Even though obviously it's dangerous. Yeah. But that's.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Moving down there, that could be the security. Totally. That's exactly how I see it.
They know the people. They know how it works. They know, you know, until it can change. Yeah. You know, so that's why, you know, people go back and back and back to what they know until it can change. Yeah, and until they've had whatever lessons that they maybe need, you know, to find that stability and so on. So again, it comes down really, what's coming up for me is very much, it comes down to the level of acceptance again.
It's about acceptance, isn't it? Because
yeah.
you know, how are you in relation to, you know, you're in this place of love, you have a nice experience, you teach people about love, you share love, and you know, you're vibrating that and keeping in an optimistic, positive, you know, manner and life. Do you have these sort of do you toy with the visions of, like, if everything's beautiful as it is, everything's happening as it should, it brings me to a place more and more now in my unfolding that you don't actually have to do anything. There's almost a letting go to the place of, well, just let everything be. You know, like you said in your workshops, hold a space for people to explore themselves. But when you start to really comprehend that you're not in control of what's really going on in this reality, on, you know, you do have an effect at 100%, because every action we have has a ripple effect and an effect, like you said, if somebody commits suicide, it has an effect on people. But fundamentally, do we really need to change anything if everything is happening just beautifully as it is? Well,
that's a very interesting point. And, you know, if you look at certain teachers, like Susan Jeffers, who wrote The Field of Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yeah, I like that book.
She, early on, ran workshops, did training, trained loads of people to run Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway workshops and all that. Now she lives by the beach, writes her books, and says hello to the homeless person on the beach. I mean, personally, I know this for me, that my work's brought me to me.
Yeah.
I needed to do my work.
Mm.
I had to do my work to come home to me. So, you know, the teacher of the work is often getting more than the students, though the students will get a lot as well.
Of course.
We're all in it together, but
it's mutual
exchange. The teacher, just by daring to do that, is growing a huge amount, and that's often the teacher's work, is to grow through teaching.
Yeah.
And the people who come on their teaching will be growing through the teaching too, but there may come a point when the teacher can just live by the sea and write their books, or walk the dog, or you know, where the teacher doesn't need to do so much. The teacher's often doing it for themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. I
mean, and for the students, but they're often doing. We're all in this together, learning. And yes, perhaps as we become more and more peaceful, perhaps we would live more and more peacefully.
Yeah.
There is another reality as well. When you're young, you have different energies. So, you know, like I was passionate to work with all kinds of people with huge need. Absolutely passionate. I've worked with most groups in certain types of need in the UK. I had such a passion for it. But, you know, equally I had a passion to heal myself. So now that's softened. So I'm not doing that I'm not doing that hardcore level community work anymore.
Yeah, and that's interesting to see that transformation, isn't it? Yeah,
I'm not.
Because it's just naturally, it served its purpose of the healing that took place.
And that's what happens when you're a coach or a psychotherapist as well. When you're early on, you often, and you're that needy, you will get the more needy clients. They mirror you.
Yeah,
and as you soften and lighten, you get clients who soften and lighten. You literally get the mirror of your vibration, and it's the same with partners and romantic partners.
Like we were saying, yes.
You get the mirror of your spiritual development, and it's the same as a teacher. You get that.
Yeah, and it's a good way
mirrored for you.
It's a good way to look at who you are at this point in your reality as well, isn't it? You know,
you get a good reflection.
Yeah,
and also, you know, how much relationship you're able to hold. So basically, it's all a mirror. So if you're wanting to really grow, when you work with people, you say, look, this is a proper commitment, and you know, I would like you to think of this as a process that you're committing to as a proper process, rather than being, oh, it can be anything and anything. You know, you start to kind of want it to be more of an adult form.
Yeah,
for them, for you,
in relation to your
coaching,
to coaching
and working. This is your response. We're going to work on this together, and so I want you to think this is a proper project. So it sounds weird, but as you get more committed and lighter, you also ask more of you and them.
Yeah, that's somebody.
It's letting go and asking more at the same time.
As always,
which is like relationship, like getting married.
Like relationship.
Like relationship, you go deeper, further, and let go.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
But not being, oh, we're anyone and anything, and you can be with anyone, I can be with anyone. No, I want to commit to this fully, and let go and go deeper and ask more of me and ask more of you and go.
Yeah.
And lighten.
As an as an exploration. So the lightness actually becomes more, it's not heavy, it's not a burden, it's actually an enjoyment to go on that journey together.
It's like you were saying before about, you know, you work on yourself and you lighten your heart. You work on yourself, you lighten your heart. You take the action, you lighten up. And I think, you know, this is what I'm noticing is that, you know, I'm lightening, but I'm forming more.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and that's how it should. And
that's the balance, the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's how it's coming. That's how it's coming into your life at the moment. Yeah, that's really interesting as well, isn't it? The way that, because you do a lot of work with relationships as well, don't you? Or is it couples or not? More individuals? No,
individuals.
Oh, just individuals.
Relationship, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You don't do like couples and stuff like that.
No.
And you know, it's.
I have done and I would do, but it's really, you know, even if people comment about, oh, they want to talk about their partner, you know, really, we need to talk about them. Yeah,
because it's all about you and your reflection. If you look at yourself, you actually don't even need to be focusing on your partner, because if you work on yourself, you naturally put that out, don't you? Yeah. It's
amazing. They go, oh, they're this, this. They don't want this. It's them.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Yeah, totally. Is that, you know, it's always point the finger, and I went through a process of that myself. You know, that's why I now notice it in others. Is that you can only see in others what you often you see in others what you can't see in yourself. And for me, the more that I become aware, I now look at others, and then I can instantly look at the reflection and go, thank you very much. And I'm getting so much amazing growth and meeting some wonderful people on the journey through now going, what have you come to show me? Oh, wonderful! Thank you so much for that. And it's almost like I can just look in the mirror. So when I'm looking at you, I can actually look in the mirror and learn and grow in that moment, rather than needing the hindsight, which has been a lot of my journey. Is that the hindsight? Oh yeah, that. Oh, and then that led to that. Now it's very much having the insight to create the foresight. So you can go into this place of like awareness and actually see it showing up for you. And that's where it started to come for me, which has been quite magical, because you can be in the magic as it unfolds, as opposed to thinking, damn, why did I do that again? Or, you know, I made a mistake. Because there's no mistake, is there? But it's just, you know, it's just like, that's what comes up for you. So, you know,
it's lovely.
Yeah,
it's really enjoying the moment.
It's really enjoying the moment. We were talking about it this morning as well. Is that a number of events just happened in the last week? Because there's this surge of energy at the moment, which seems to be creating this sort of like level of instant manifestation. We've got the heart field. We're becoming more aware of the heart field. We're becoming more aware of the energies around us. We're becoming just naturally more consciously aware of, or a lot of people are, of reality as a whole. And like, whoa, is this reality? Is that reality? And it seems to me, definitely on this journey, more and more people are questioning that. I know we've always questioned who are we, what are we, but I think more and more people are looking at themselves and going, you know, who am I at the moment, and what is my role in this experience? If you know, and do I have one, or so on? And yeah, what was really powerful this last week, and you've touched on it so much in this talk, which is obviously no coincidence, it's just the letting go. I think this talk has pretty much been the basis of I felt that, hasn't it? It's been very much about the letting go. You're not in control. And this last week, some things have fallen into place for me, which from the realization of the letting go, and then from the letting go you receive, but actually not having to go to a workshop or hear it in a book or read it, actually feeling the experience of the letting go. Wow. And understanding how that has actually then shown up, literally almost instant manifestation of the next experience that's shown up and gone, oh, there you go, you let go. Wow. Do you see what I mean? And that for me this week has been quite, and for the person involved, because it was with a friend as well, which people have seen the talk, Vaz Sriharan, and we've been having this, you know, really consciously aware unfolding of, and with a friend of mine called Andrew Arms, is this like, just this, let it be, everything's okay, let it be, you know? And as you really embody that, you start to come from a more wholesome place, a more authentic place, a more transparent place. And then, like you said, it's not that you don't do anything, it's not that you just sit on the top of a hill and do nothing. It's almost like the doing goes, there's no more doing, but there's a beingness that creates action. And that is like, so you could put it in label that, well, the action's you're doing something. Well, yeah, but it's taking away the idea that I've got to do so much. That's got to happen. I must do that. Oh, I must put that there and do that. And this has got to happen. And you just know what I mean? It changes the energy of that, you know? So that's come up and...
like a pleasure.
More of a pleasure. Yeah, definitely.
The allowing.
Yeah.
An allowing of it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I've spoken to many people about the allowing, my family, my partner, you know, spoke to many people about the allowing, but the allowing is very scary because we think if we allow, we're going to lose or not become. Do you see what I mean? Whereas that's not the case. And that's what I'm now realising more and more because like you said at the beginning, come full circle, there's nothing to become.
That's so lovely you say that because it is, I'm going through a massive change right now and I don't quite know what's going to happen, but I can sense this last 2 weeks, massive shift and letting go. And I don't, you know, and as I'm staying open to, I'd like certain things, but I know that I don't quite know what that's going to turn into. And it's lovely to hear you because when I've had these certain times in my life which I can mark certain shifts, and then I've had really transformational experience where I've moved far away or I've gone or done something very different, I didn't have to know all of it. Didn't have to. And it's lovely to hear you because it's like just stay in the allowing because I don't know quite
what's going to
evolve in the next few weeks. I know something's shifting and I know it's big shift and I don't quite know what yet. But I remember I've had this before when I was in a march once 3 years ago thinking, I don't know how I'm getting to April. I didn't know what the shift would be. And it was an allowing and it was a letting go. And then I came into April in a very different way. And this is what this feels like. We're in April now and I don't quite know what's happening in May or how it's going to unfold. But I know there's a big change. It'll be me. I will let go of something. And then I will allow. That's it. And it's truly talking to you. Maybe because this is why I thought, after having my big 2 weeks, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I said this to you. I said, I don't, but this little voice said, no, do the interview. You know, it's important for some reason. You know, it's important. So, because obviously, I say obviously in my mind, because I know I've been going through this big shift. I was thinking in my mind, should I do this talk in May when I'm more perfect? When I've gone through, when I've shifted or changed or gone to somewhere different, should I, you know? And then this little voice went, do the interview. Do it. And actually it's been really good because of this, allow. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Something's going to happen. But
you know, you know what I'm feeling is so beautiful and it's a wonderful place to end. But what you just shared there as well, and for people watching as well who I know respect you and admire you and love your work, is that there you have the transparency that Kate's just shared with us as well, which is the love coming full round to the experience that you know yourself, that you're perfect, you're love right now, and you know that, and that's what you shared to people. But even you're still going through that process and working with it each day, you know, as we are, to keep connecting yourself to that space. And I think that for me is what it's about, you know. That's that's the joy, isn't it? Because like you said, it's constant, it's infinite, and nobody knows anything.
It's constant because it's so wonderful, like you said, you know, to allow the lightning, to allow the change. But it's scary. It brings up scary feelings, even though it's wonderful to go through the change. And what would we do other?
The change is constant.
Would we just stay in blocked or the same, or would we just...
You need the change.
The change is so wonderful, but as we're going through it, it can feel like, ooh, contraction. Contraction wants to come in, and it's a practice for me to kind of go... Which is partly why I did this, I think, not consciously, but I was thinking, actually, there's something about doing an interview which is opening. Because we created the foundation of love. Staying in the openness.
High five that. Okay, wow, there you go. we're gonna wrap this one up. I know there was, as I was listening to Cate, I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna ask her this, I'm gonna ask her this, and bring that up. But you know, we could, you know, love is, if it's infinite, it's boundless. And if it's boundless, we could talk about it for hours, days, weeks, months, as I do. So big hug. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us use your wonderful space to do this talk. And
lovely.
Yeah, well, you know, let's see what unfolds, and good luck with your shift. Hopefully, you'll keep me, tell me what happens at some point, or what comes out of it. And thank you to you, Simon. It's been beautiful. Yeah, it's been lovely. Yeah, good luck with all your adventures and your journeys with these interviews. Yeah, wonderful. See where they end up. So good. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that talk and can take something for your own journey of love, because you, as Cate says, are love. Take care. Bye bye.